Welcome to New York Voices. I'm Rafael Pi Roman. You know, in 1998, Christine Ebersole's Hollywood agent told her that her career was over because, in effect, she was over the hill, past her prime, just too old at 45. Well, 9 years later, she's one of the biggest stars on Broadway, and critics have called her performance in the musical Grey Gardens, quote, a new benchmark for musical theater excellence, and, quote, as close to perfect as anyone has a right to expect. So much for Hollywood agents. Even as a child in Winnetka, Illinois, Christine Ebersole was showing her keen ability to transform herself into other people. She refined her acting skills at McMurray College in Illinois and at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. Her first starring role on Broadway came in 1980 when she played Guinevere opposite both Richard Burton and Richard Harris in Camelot. Although Ebersole received an Emmy nomination for her role as Maxie McDermott in One Life to Live and starred in such shows as The Kavanaughs, Rachel Gunn R.N., and Valerie, she's probably best remembered on television for her work as a regular cast member on Saturday Night Live's 1981 season. Her film credits include Amadeus, Tootsie, Richie Rich, My Girl 2, My Favorite Martian, and Till There Was You. After 14 years in Hollywood, Ebersole returned to the New York stage, receiving a Tony nomination for her work in Dinner at 8 and winning a Tony for her portrayal of Dorothy Brock in 42nd Street. But it's her dual portrayal of Edith Bouvier Beale and her daughter Little Edie in Grey Gardens, a show based on the Maisel brothers' 1975 documentary, that has placed her, as one critic put it, in the musical theater pantheon.
Another winter in a summer town.
Both the film and the play profile Jackie O's eccentric aunt and cousin, who took the dizzying plunge from New York City's high society to squalor in their remote East Hampton home. The Beales, who were on the verge of being thrown out of their home for living amidst garbage, broken appliances, stray cats, and other wild animals, were saved when Jackie and her sister Lee Radziwill stepped in to fix up and clean the rundown mansion.
Oh, we love the land, it's the spirit of me and mine.
The Maisels documentary captured the public's imagination. Little Edie ascended to iconic status, becoming the inspiration for song lyrics, fashion spreads, and now a Broadway musical.
Grey Gardens will be decked out in its pride.
Christine Ebersole plays Mother Edith Bouvier Beale in an imagined prequel that takes place in 1941. Act 2, set in 1973, draws more directly from the documentary.
The elderly bedridden aunt of former First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy, Mrs. Edith Bouvier Beale, my very own mother, can you imagine?
Ebersole's performance has already earned her the Obie, the Drama Desk, and the Outer Critics Circle Award, and is expected to earn her second Tony. I spoke with Christine Ebersole at the Walter Kerr Theater, where Grey Gardens is being performed. Christine.
Raphael.
That's me.
That's my son's middle name.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful name.
It's named after the archangel.
Well, my kid is going to have to be named Christine.
If it's a girl.
No matter what. How did Grey Gardens come to you, or how did you come to Grey Gardens?
Well, Grey Gardens actually first came to me when I was in Los Angeles in 2003. And I was there doing a TV series. And I was staying with a friend. And he said to me, have you ever seen Grey Gardens? And I remembered hearing the title, but I had never seen it. He goes, oh my God, you have to go out and rent that. So I went and got the DVD along with a lot of other DVDs, and I never saw any of the other DVDs. I put in Grey Gardens and saw it breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Now, was that because you already knew you were going to do the play?
Oh no. It was almost as if the universe was preparing me for it in some cosmic, karmic way. But no, I was obsessed. And it wasn't like I thought, oh, gee, wouldn't this make a great musical? It never occurred to me.
Really?
I think it's just from being an actor, actors love observing. And that's really what that is about, you know, just sort of observing the psychology and just the ins and outs and goings on of these characters, which is endlessly fascinating.
You know, I see myself as a little girl and all that.
I see you as a very immature child.
You know, she sees me as a baby, and I see myself as...
I came down here to take care of my dying mother.
I never asked you. I never begged.
And then she pulled a fast one on me. She kept right on breathing.
Now, was the play written with you in mind?
Apparently, yeah. Scott Frankel, who came up with the idea, and he got the rights to it, he's the composer, And it was his idea to put the first act in 1941 and the second act in 1973. And he thought of me.
Now, when you decided to do the play, did you know from the start that it was going to be such a critical success and such a box office success?
Well, I felt like I was in a part of a great work of art. That's the way it was when I was in Amadeus, the movie. It never occurred to me that it was going to win 8 Academy Awards. I just felt that I was a part of just this jewel of art. And that's the same feeling I got when I entered into the world of Grey Gardens.
Around the world with stones and shells, the nicest one I lost.
The Beals have become something of a cult figure in some circles, right? In fact, some of the top designers claim that they've been inspired by Little Edie's sense of fashion. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's, you know, everybody wants to be out front and stand apart and be a nonconformist and be an individual. I think that's, everybody sort of strives for that. Not that we can always achieve that, but we want to, it's sort of a drum major instinct, I think. And I think Edie really was free from any sort of conventional instructions on how to dress, certainly. And I think maybe certainly her isolation maybe informed a lot of that.
This is the best thing to wear for the day, you understand? Yeah. Because I don't like women in skirts.
You fight City Hall with a Persian shawl that used to hang on the bedroom wall, pinned under the chin, adorned with a pin, and pulled into a twist.
I think that it's a funny sort of dichotomy because in the surroundings of this sort of confined space that they were in, they actually found their freedom.
It's a big house, a house we live in. It's a big job, guarding freedom's door. It's a big fall across the ocean. But a big gal lights our golden shore.
I think what makes her heroic for me is that she was a nonconformist. And she didn't capitulate to the status quo. And I think I really admire that and aspire to that in my own life.
Well, tell me about the similarities between Little Edie and yourself.
Oh, we're getting personal now. Well, I sort of, what I would admire, I'll just say what I admire about Little Edie, is I admire her childlike qualities. She has that childhood innocence. And I think she always speaks the truth. She doesn't get embarrassed about, again, you know, her sense of fashion, a sense of style, her way of dancing, just her thoughts on the world. And she's very funny.
They can get you in East Hampton for wearing red shoes on a Thursday. That sort of thing. I don't know whether you know that. I mean, do you know that? They can get you for almost anything. It's a mean, nasty Republican town.
You know, everybody says that you don't perform Little Edie. I mean, you channel Little Edie, and I'm wondering where that comes from. I'm wondering if it's because you somehow, as you say, connect with her in these different levels.
I really feel like I do. I really feel there's a spiritual connection. And whenever you're a part of what I consider a great work of art is Grey Gardens, it becomes larger than the self. So it's always my attempt in art to empty the vessel of my own ego so that it can fill with the spirit of my servitude to the story. So that's really what my goal is serving the story and serving these women.
You know, just before Little Edie died in 2002, Al Maisels, one of the 2 documentarians who did the first film, told her that there was a play on Broadway in the works. She got very excited about it. How do you think she would have responded to your performance?
You see, there again, when people ask that, what do you think she would have thought? I don't think of it in that way. I think that she's very much a part of it, and she's very present. Both of the Edys are a part of this experience. And so I think she's having a ball.
She's continuing to have a ball.
Yeah, that's
no
what
matter
I
where she
think
is.
that their dreams are finally realized, in a way.
Before I move on to other topics, I have to do this. Might embarrass you, which is to quote a few of the critics, what a few of the critics have said about your
Oh,
performance.
go ahead.
Now, you can quote what the critic has said about me. Of course, they've said nothing so far, but thank God, maybe. Ben Brantley of the New York Times called your performance possibly the greatest he'd ever seen in a musical. New York Magazine proclaimed it the performance of the year, and Variety proclaimed that you had set a new benchmark for musical theater excellence, and that you had given the kind of performance that comes around once in a decade and will be talked about for decades to come. I never read anything like this about anyone. The question is, how do you keep this stuff from going to your head? Or has it gone to your head? Doesn't seem to, but you're a good actress.
Well, again, I think it's because, like I said, when you're an artist and you're a part of a great, what I consider a great work of art, that it's so much bigger than who you are. You can't really claim it for your own. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
in other
but
words,
it's you who are
yes,
doing
no,
it.
okay, it's me who has the skill. Okay, and that's my responsibility, and I take credit for that. But it's not me who is given the gifts. That's from the divine, from God, whatever you want to call it. And so, as an artist, I believe it's my responsibility to share the gifts that I was given, and to nurture those gifts, and to bring them along through, hard work and technique and skill that I develop over the years. But the artistry is not mine.